Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So I haven't seen this movie in a couple years. The last time I watched it, I absolutely loved it, and upon rewatch, I still love this movie. I think it's absolutely amazing. Um, it's super funny. There's a ton of memorable lines, super memorable, likable characters, and the drama is on point as well. Like it really gets into some heavy topics, and it really like gets into relationships, and it it's just an amazing high school movie. You know, you can't go wrong if you're looking for, you know, an iconic high school movie. Fast Times at Ridgemont High never disappoints. So yeah, I had an amazing time with this again. It's I mean, what more do I have to say? It's a classic. So I mean, this movie, it never disappoints. So yeah, basically, I'm just gonna get into a bunch of random thoughts that I had while watching it this time. So one of the first things that I want to go over is just um, the mall setting. Like, I mean, of course, the whole movie wasn't set at the mall, but just like the atmosphere of the mall, like it was so cool. Like it was like the teen hangout, and when I was watching this, I was just thinking like, man, like were all malls like that in the 80s? Because it was like popping, dude. Like they had like a little arcade going on. They had the movie theater. Um, I mean, like a lot of malls still have movie theaters, but there was just like it was just so like lively. Like at that mall, like it was just like all young people, and they're all like they all, you know, went to school together. They all worked together, and then people from their school would like pop in, and like, you know, they were like customers. Like just, I don't know, malls are still cool, but like I mean, maybe it's just a movie thing, you know, but I mean, if malls were really like that back in the day, like that would have been so legit. It seemed like such a cool, fun hangout spot, and I really liked that aspect. Um, another thing was when Hamilton was getting harassed by that guy. I've had so many experiences like that in real life. So currently, like I work in a job where it's like a, you know, customer facing job where I have to like deal with customers all day on a regular basis, and oh my goodness, you do get like quite a few, like on the reg, you get customers like that who are just like tripping over absolutely nothing and just like totally berate you for no reason, just like treat you like shit. So like I was like this is real as hell. Like, and then I used to work in food service, and people would really be on that, where like they would eat half their meal or like most of their meal, and they'd be like, yeah, you know, it was undercooked, or it was burnt, or, you know, it was cold, or blah blah blah. It's like, homie, you should have called me up about that after the first bite. You're gonna eat the whole meal like something's fishy. You're on some sneaky stuff, man, trying to get some free food. And that, I mean, that was super lame that Hamilton got fired for that. But that's like how it goes. Like if you're working like a front facing job like that, you just gotta take stuff all day. And if it's like people are being rude and yelling at you, you just gotta like smile at them and be like, hey, I'm sorry, you know, hey, sorry. And then if you say one thing back, it's like you're immediately fired. You're just gone. Like it doesn't matter. And I was just I was feeling bad for Hamilton throughout the whole movie. Like he had it going on. He had like the pretty like chill job. He had like the girl going on, and and you know, he had his car almost paid off, and then it was just like he was just taking L after L after L. Like, I mean, eventually, you know, he had like a little redemption arc, which is like one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. But man, I felt bad for the boy Hamilton. Like, he was just taking all kinds of L's, and but I mean, he bounced back. So I mean that's how you gotta do it. You can't stop grinding, you know. So he stayed on that grind, and it all worked out in the end. Yeah, I already talked about the fact that it blends comedy and drama well. Like, there was just like little things in the performances that were like really good. Like when Damone was getting with Stacy, like you could just tell like all his like little reactions. It wasn't even anything that he said, but like the way he would like emote, like you would just look at his face, like when he's in the kitchen sipping the iced tea, like he just like looks away. He just looks ashamed because like he knows like his best friend is like, you know, has a huge crush on Stacy, and he's just like you can tell just from his face, just from his little movements, like he just like he knows it's wrong, but at the same time it's like it's a hard, that's a hard position to be in, because I mean you got this fine girl just like trying to get with you. She's just like super aggressive trying to get with him. She's like totally obsessed with him, and it's like he doesn't have to do anything. It's like that would be so hard to turn down, you know what I mean? But it's like at the same time it's your best friend. Like I'm gonna go over like other stuff, but like all the stuff in this movie, it was just like it was so real, you know. It was like, because a lot of movies, especially like high school movies, they're just like so Hollywood, and it's some BS, and it's like you get some BS Hollywood ending. I mean, I like happy endings, and this has like a pretty like uplifting happy ending, but it's like a lot of like high school and college movies, they're just so like shallow and surface level. And I mean, it's like rare that you find a movie that's this funny, but at the same time it's like it's so realistic, it's dealing with real stuff, and it deals with like heavy stuff, like some heavy stuff. And this was like from back in the day, and I feel like this is still like relevant today. You could definitely, you know, you could watch this throughout the years, and you could relate to it. Kids today could relate to it. It's timeless, you know what I mean? I mean, you could argue that like some stuff hasn't aged well, but I mean that you could say that about any older movie. I mean, that's just, you know, stuff that was cool at the time might not be cool now. That's just how it goes. Like, what are you gonna do, you know? And speaking of that, yeah, like I love how when Spicoli is like joyriding Forrest Whitaker's character's car, he's like, I don't know if he's supposed to be smoking a cigarette. I think he's supposed to be smoking a joint, but he's smoking weed, and then he's like drinking a beer while driving. Like I've seen like countless 80s movies where it's not like they'll have a couple beers like before driving, and then they get in the whip and they're like drinking and driving. Like in all these 80s movies, these fools don't even care. They got like the 6-pack in the passenger seat, and they just got like a beer in their lap. Like in Carrie, when John Travolta's character, he's just like drinking and driving, and then there's like a cop, and he's like, oh, let me just put it down. Like they're just like so chill about it. But I mean, from what I've heard from like back in my old job, when I was talking to like older coworkers, they're like, yeah, like drinking and driving was like not a big deal. Like you could drink a beer while driving, and like if you got pulled over, it was just like a slap on the wrist. Like, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but that's just like, it's like crazy. I mean, in the movies I like it. I think it's like funny, it's like fun. Like like I don't know, I like all the like those characters, like what's his name, Dan Chalice from Halloween 3, where he's just like sipping beers on the reg. And then I mean, like I haven't seen The Fog in a minute, but I feel like his character might have been like drinking beers and driving. I don't fully remember, but like just just like from an entertainment perspective, I just find that stuff like really entertaining and funny because I like sipping some beers. So it's just like that like not not give a fuck attitude. Like yeah, I'm just sipping some beers and driving. I mean in real life that's like not cool, super irresponsible and dangerous. But in the movies, I love that stuff. I think it's super funny. I don't know, and it's like, I like to see people turning up. Speaking of that, all these all these kids had like the liquor stash. Like in Damone's room, he just had like bottles on bottles. Like he had like a whole like little mini bar, and he was just not even hiding that. Even Spicoli, he had like all the beer bottles in his room. He had like the bong out in the open. Like, I mean, when I was in high school, I was like, I would sneak some stuff here and there, and I wasn't like super cautious about it. Like I was kind of stupid with it, but I wouldn't just have stuff out in the open like that. Like these fools don't even care. I mean, do their parents care? I don't even know, but I mean that's what's up. You're in high school and you got a mini bar going on. Like I can get behind that, you know. Um, Yeah, like just I think like when I watch these movies, I just think like, man, being like a teenager back then would be so fun. Like, I mean, I had fun in my teenage years, and I was like causing trouble in the neighborhood, turning up, not like really causing trouble in the neighborhood, but I mean like doing teenage stuff. But like in these '80s movies, like they're doing teenage stuff to the max. Like they're just like partying on the reg, doing all kinds of like mischievous activities. Not like mischievous like bad, but they're just like causing a little trouble in the neighborhood, just like doing fun like adolescent stuff. I love it. Like I wonder if it was like, I mean, I wonder if it was really like that back then, because I mean you see these movies, but then when you talk to people, like who are like a little bit older, they're like it really was like that. Like it was like a magical time. So I like that like time capsule of like, man, like it must have been fun to party back then. Like, man, it must have been fun to be in like high school back then or be a teenager back then, because you could just have fun and get away with a whole lot of stuff. Moving on here. Yeah, I don't like transition. I just well into any topics. I just write down a bunch of random stuff. I just come on here. I just come on here, kind of freestyle it. I'm like a rapper or something, or I don't know. I just do it off the cuff. That's my style. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll like edit these. Probably not. I mean that's probably why I don't have barely any followers or whatever. But I don't even care. I'm doing this for fun. And hey, I mean if people are watching this and they do follow the channel or subscribe or whatever, like I appreciate it. Like it's super hooked up. I don't even care how many subscribers I have. Like it's like cool that people like rock with my stuff, because I'm not like asking for handouts, but like I'm having fun, so it's like it's pretty tight if people are rocking with my stuff a little bit, um, yeah. So Phoebe Cates' character, she's always talking about like she has some boyfriend, or I think she says like she has a fiance in like another state or something like that, and we never see him. And I mean I'm thinking she's just lying, like. And then it's so funny because whenever she like talks about like sex stuff or tries to give Stacy advice, it's always just like such BS. She's like, oh yeah, my boyfriend lasts 30 to 40 minutes in bed. Like she's just straight capping, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, what it reminds me of is like the whole joke of like, yeah, yeah, I have this really hot model girlfriend, but yeah, she lives in Canada, and oh yeah, no, well yeah, she can't come. Well, she was gonna come through, but it was like a scheduling thing. She's so busy with family and work, she can't come through. Like like talking about this movie being realistic, like there were so many like kids that I knew in school that would legit lie about having like some really hot girlfriend, but she's in another state. Like there's this one cat that I went to school with, and he's like, yeah, I got this girlfriend in California. She's a model. She's gonna be an actor. And then he'd like pull up some like Google Images picture, and then I think this is like when we were like pretty darn young. I think it was like elementary school or middle school. So like we're just on some dumb stuff. Like wow, like is that he really? Wow, that's really his girlfriend. Like what? Like this dude's straight pulling. Like what? But I yeah I feel like she was definitely capped, and she would like, cause I think she was just trying to act like she knew everything about everything, but she probably didn't even have any experiences. Like Stacy probably had more experiences than her with like the sex stuff and whatever. But like I said about this movie being realistic, kids are really on that stuff where they're like, they got the girlfriend in Canada, they got the girlfriend in Oklahoma, she's a model, she's a 10 out of 10. But hey, are you ever going to be able to FaceTime her or talk to her on the phone? No, never. So, I mean, that's just how it goes. It's the way she goes. Let me see here. Oh yeah, so man, I feel bad for Stacy and like, so Stacy and Hamilton are brothers, and I mean they're not brothers. She's a girl. They're brother and sister, and like Hamilton is just taking all kinds of L's, but like Stacy is going through some stuff, like some serious stuff, and she actually like handles it pretty well and like bounces back and stuff. But like the whole thing where she got pregnant, it really reminded me of the movie Kids, where Jenny got HIV after like one sexual experience. Like this girl has only been with two guys, and she's just like starting to experiment with that stuff, and then like that happens. It's just like that would be so messed up if like it's like you're just kind of learning about that stuff, and then something like serious like that happens, and then she has to like go to the clinic, and it's a whole thing. Like that was some heavy stuff. Like that's what I'm saying. Like this it's a comedy, but I mean like that, I feel like that's like taboo stuff to have in a movie, especially back in the day. And it's like, I don't know, it's just that it's not just some, like I said, it's not some like shallow movie. Like it deals with like real problems, heavy problems. This movie like takes risks. It doesn't shy away from like serious stuff, and like that's what I'm saying. I think it's still relevant because of that. And then how I was talking about Phoebe Cates' character like just lying and kind of being insecure and lying about having the boyfriend. I feel like Damone, I feel like his whole persona was like a front, you know what I mean? Like he was trying to come off like this smooth, charismatic guy, but I feel like that's like a thing too, like in school, like a lot of those individuals who like try to act like they're the coolest, they're the smoothest, they get the most girls. It's like a coping mechanism. It's like he's probably just like really insecure. Like his buddy Mark, he's just like cool being himself. He's like, yeah, I'm like kind of a shy guy, I'm not really, pulling the ladies like that, but I'm doing me. I'm gonna do it my way. I'm just gonna like be nice, be myself. Damone, I feel like his whole persona is a front, even when he's trying to like, he's always trying to say what's up to like Forrest Whitaker's character, who he's like the like one of like the coolest guys in the movie. Like everyone wants to be his friend because he's like the star football player, and he's probably gonna like go like D1, and he's like a local celebrity because he's just like he's just like such a star football player. And Damone like always tries to like say what's up with him and be cool, and he just like shoots him down. And then that's the thing, like so Damone's talking about the whole movie like that he's just like getting girls and this and that, and then when he gets down to it, this dude just he just like totally blows it. He finishes in like 30 seconds. And then the whole thing, the whole thing is like he's supposed to be like a hustler, but then he can't even come up with $150. So it's like I'm not saying that his entire personality is like a complete front, but he's definitely like exaggerating everything. And it's like, you know, that's how it goes though, because you're at that age, you're trying to like be cool, you're trying to fit in. It's a whole thing. But yeah, like Mark is just himself, and he's all cool, and all the stuff between them, like their friendship, I really like they're pretty cool friends. And then when they fight, you know, like, I mean, you get kind of in the feels with that. It's so funny though when they're squaring up, they're like doing their fists like this, like some like 1950s stuff. Like who fights like that? Like put your fists up like this. Like they're like, he's like, you want a piece of me? You want a piece of me? Like I just felt like that was so weird and out of place. Like my dude, who fights like this? Like I don't. Was it supposed to be funny? Like these fool, like I wanted to see him fight because it would be laughable. Like they probably just be throwing like the craziest hooks, just like not knowing anything about fighting. Like who squares up like this? Like you're some cartoon character. Like come on, dude, put your fist like this. Have you ever seen a boxing match? Like jeez. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That just stood out to me. I'm like, come on, man. What is this? What is this? Some 1930s black and white little like silent film. I don't know if that was still the silent era. Sorry, I'm not like that much of a film buff. But like this whole thing, like, hey, you want a piece of me? Hey. I mean, come on, man. No, it was still fun though. But that's just something I had to point out. But yeah, oh yeah, the last thing I'm gonna point out here, like just some random actors that I noticed this time around that I feel like maybe I noticed them the last time I watched it, maybe I didn't. But there's like a lot of like horror movie people, and then just like a random thing like when Stacy's getting with that older guy, whatever like thing they're in, it looks like a baseball dugout. I don't know though, but it says like in spray paint, it says like surf Nazis, like a reference to the Trauma movie, Surf Nazis Must Die. I noticed that this time. I thought that was cool. And then you got like a lot of like people from like a lot of horror movies that I like. So you got Pamela Springsteen. She's in a couple scenes as a cheerleader, and of course she's in Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, which are like the best movies ever. You got the girl from the first Nightmare on Elm Street. She's Hamilton's girlfriend. The one of the main guys, Mark, he's in The Burning, which that's another solid summertime slasher movie. The businessman guy who's like yelling at Hamilton about trying to get like a free meal. He's in a bunch of Full Moon Features movies. He's in like all the Evil Bong movies as Rabbit, and then I'm pretty sure he's in like quite a few of the Trancers sequels. I haven't seen any of the Trancers sequels, but the first Trancers is good. That's pretty solid. I've seen that, but yeah, it was cool seeing him. I feel like I didn't recognize these people, the first time I watched this, and then I was like looking up the cast, and I guess one of Spicoli's like buddies was played by Eric Stoltz when he was like super young. I don't know him from like a lot of stuff, but I'm a big fan of the movie Some Kind of Wonderful. That's another great 80s teen movie where he's like in detention with that guy, and then he's like trying to get with that one chick. He's like, I want to be an artist. I don't want to go to business school, Dad. It's a solid 80s movie, so I didn't even recognize him, but that's cool that he was in this. And then last but not least, you got Nicolas Cage up in there for like 1 second. Like at the burger joint that Hamilton works at, you see Nicolas Cage. He looks down and he looks up and like that's it. But I mean, it's always cool to see Nicolas Cage. He rules. He's the man. So that was cool. That would have been cool if he was like actually like a character in this movie. Not like, I mean, all the main characters do such a great job. Like, I don't feel like this movie needs any other main characters, but it would have been cool if he had like more to do it, like maybe like a couple lines, you know. But it was still cool to see him. But you know, I pretty much went over all my notes and went over everything that I wanted to say about this movie. Like I said, this is a classic. The comedy's on point. On point. You got so many memorable lines. You got like Spicoli, like, all I need is a cool buzz and some tasty waves. And then he's like, when he's like, I don't know. Like, you got so many iconic lines. I mean, I gotta give a shout out before I end the video to the whole like Phoebe Kate scene where, you know, it's like Hamilton's like dreaming and, you know, she's got the bikini on, she takes her top off. I mean, I'm not trying to be on some perv stuff, but low key, like, you know, she's a beautiful lady, so I like that whole scene. That's iconic. I mean, super memorable stuff. All the characters are awesome. I mean, what can you say? It's Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It's thebomb.com. So yeah, this movie's extremely solid. If you haven't seen it, 10 out of 10 would absolutely recommend. But other than that, you know, I've pretty much said everything that I want to say about this movie. Thank you all for watching, and peace out.